What's up, print fam? Welcome to Printing United. I'm here with Gene with FireSprint. We're talking about this really cool application that I'm going to have him talk more about because it's not the bottleneck that I thought it was. And Gene's going to explain why, and I'm going to ask him some questions. Hopefully, we can clean up the audio enough that you can hear us because I didn't bring mics today. So, Gene, we're at the Infinite Motion.
Infinite Motion. They're a vector feeder. So we have like the third one I think that they've installed in the country. It is so cool. We'll do some videos in our own shop to show that. But it does exactly what you're seeing here. It's lifting these boards up and feeding just a Zund cutter. And so it'll interface with a Zund cutter. I believe it'll interface with all kinds of cutters. But essentially you take a pallet of printed material or whatever you got to cut, and it loads the cutter. Like it's that simple.
So when you told me about this, I thought it was loading your printers because that was what came to mind. Oh, it's loading your printer so you can print boards. Why not on your printer and why on the cutter?
So first of all, I believe they do have systems for loading printers if that's really where the bottleneck is. But the bottleneck is the thing. At FireSprint, we are pretty much we're bound by the amount that we can cut, not so much by the amount that we can print. We have a Durst D4. We've got a couple of Dursts. We have Candy Colorados. We can outprint way more than we can ever cut. And so our bottleneck, the limitation to how much we're going to ship is at the cutters. And so all of our automation and everything we do, we're trying to do at the cutters to make them more efficient. And so really our issue isn't even on the load side of the cutter. It's on the outfeed side. It's sorting all the individual orders and everything we do. We've got these different shapes that need to be piled up and put in containers, and marking jobs is completed. But we've learned that adding the stacker on the infeed side frees up my operator. So he or she is not constantly coming back and forth between the front and the back of the machine. They just stay at the working side of the machine, and the loader over here takes care of this side of the machine. I hope that answers that question.
So basically, the way that you have it set up is instead of the operator having to go back and forth, they can just stay on the output side, sort stuff as it comes off, and this just eliminates a little bit of wasted motion, wasted time, so that things can happen faster.
Yes, absolutely. And we load a pallet over here, and it just picks up and moves stuff through the machine. The other advantage that we get is pacing. And so let's say we're cutting yard signs, which cut very, very fast. An operator is usually waiting on the machine when we're cutting yard signs. I'm sorry, the other way around. The machine's waiting on the operator when we're cutting yard signs because they cut so fast. This machine will set a pace. So it'll just keep feeding the operator. So my team just kind of continuously works. When we were waiting for somebody to come around and load another sheet, especially with yard signs, we allow cell phones on our shop floor. I mean, we're human. We want to make sure that we can be getting a hold of or listening to podcasts. And so I'd see my operators do this and send a text and then go load the board. Well, since this machine is setting this pace on this side, they're like waiting to do that when they're actually waiting for something to happen. So maybe they've got something that's going to take longer to cut. So that pacing has really increased our throughput. So we measure OEE, which is overall equipment effectiveness, and that's a percentage of time the equipment is moving versus not moving. So when it's moving, it's probably making money. When it's not moving, it's not making any money. And we've seen our OEE go from, on our big Zund, which is like a 10 foot by 10 foot Zund, we've seen it go from like mid 20s to mid 40s. And we've made several changes, but I think one of the keystone changes that we made was adding the vector feeder.
Do you have the vector feeder on the one machine or both?
No, we just have it on one right now. I don't think we'll add it to our smaller Zund because we're saving that for a project in the future. But if we buy another board cutting Zund, I wouldn't buy another Zund without a vector feeder. And then even if you're cutting roll, all this stuff just kind of moves out of the way and you just load up a roll. So it doesn't add too much trouble for roll cutting. Now, if all you do on that machine is cutting roll, this does nothing for you. This is strictly improvement to board units.
Does it allow you to adjust what size board you cut?
Yeah. So they've got these channels here that open up and close, and it's got these kind of brushes that help keep the board from sticking to each other. But we run mostly the same size stuff, but we do have probably 3 or 4 stock sizes of sheets that we'll run. They're all similar in size, but pretty close. And the guys will switch back and forth between those in minutes. Doesn't take very long.
Any last thoughts or words on it?
So the reason why we chose it is cost. It really is. If I haven't said that already, it's one of the most competitive cost items in the marketplace. They're built in Wisconsin. The owners actually of Infinite Motion are here. They're over at those tables. Like I know the guys. They're easy to get a hold of. And they'll talk to you. They may be on an install if you buy one. And then it's very simple. There's nothing really all that complicated to it. So there's really not that much that can break. It just installs on your shop floor. You're not cutting into the concrete or anything else. Kind of rolls into place. They do kind of lock it down, but pretty easy. Just takes a couple of days to set it up. That's why we love it.
Thanks, Gene, for going over how this works and what it is. I'm going to say it because I don't want Gene to get in trouble. They're about $100,000, and there's more accessories and more things you could do to spend more money, spend less money. But reach out to them. We'll have their information down below. And thanks for watching.